Hello everybody, my name is Madison and this is Madison Esters Art. Today I am so excited to be showing you guys how to paint this adorable, fluffy white dog on this lively pink background. I'm so excited. Let's get started. So here's a reference photo. This girl's name is actually Bella, and this portrait is special because it's actually supporting animals in need. Half of all proceeds from every commissioned pet portrait painted in this collection are being donated directly to the Athens Area Humane Society to support dogs and cats who need our help. Watch to the end to find out how you can get a portrait of your very own pet, all while supporting an awesome animal shelter. So before we put any paint on the canvas, I want to point out a few key things about what we've got in front of us with this reference photo. One of the first things I look for when I begin a painting is where is that light coming from? Look for the shadows and highlights to answer this question. In Sweet Bella's case, the light in this picture is mostly coming from the top right, which means that the left side of her face will be in shadow. I also want to notice what's actually going on with the colors on her face. There are a few areas where I notice darker colors peeking through her white fur, here, here, and here. I also want to notice most of the basic shapes of Bella's face, which I've boiled down to a rounded triangle in front of an egg sort of shape. I'm also noticing dark areas around her eyes and nose, and lastly I want to look for some of the brightest areas of her face in this photo, which I know will likely include the highlights in her eyes and the tips of some of the poking out fur. So this is actually what I'm starting with. It looks rough, but it's really all I need, a map. I need to know placement and proportions, and once I've got that down, I tend to figure out details in later stages. Too much pencil on a canvas can get muddy, messy, and unhelpful real quick. I'll start the background by laying in a dark, vibrant color. For this background, I've mixed a hint of permanent red with a bit of titanium white. Once that dark color is in, and while it's still wet, I'll take pure titanium white on my brush and add some streaks to the background. This gives the background a little more movement and life, and I like to keep it like that. For this portrait, I'm going to move to the eyes next. This is a very important part of any portrait, as the eyes are often where we look first. They also communicate a ton about a person or animal's mood, personality, and even age. Let me break down what I'm doing here through a diagram of the important parts. When I draw a dog eye, I like to nail down the shape first. Most of the time this will be similar to an almond, but every eye is unique, and making sure the shape is true to your subject's eye is vital to making it look like who you're actually painting. Once I've got the shape, I move on to the iris, which is, in a dog's eye, it's pretty big. The pupil is often large too. Adjusting the size of the pupil can alter how alert, how cute, or how serious your subject will seem, and the same is true when it comes to adjusting the size of the eye itself. With any eye, it's important to shade the corners and the top edge. What's behind the lids of any eye is actually a big old sphere, so we've got to make sure that we shade this eye accordingly. You always want to include a bright white highlight too. This shows how wet and reflective the eye's surface is, and it tends to pull any eye drawing together. I like to keep the shape of my highlights organic and natural. A last important thing to note is that dog eyes have a moderate amount of white to them, but you've got to be careful with how much is there. The whites of an eye are huge in a human eye, and they're almost non-existent in a lot of animal eyes, but dog eyes are special in that they're somewhere in the middle. Next, I'll move on to the nose. Bella's nose is special in that it's pink. Most dog noses are blackish or grayish, but for Bella's nose, I'm using permanent red and titanium white mixed with primary yellow to create an orangish pinkish feel, and I'm using permanent black in the darker areas. Dog noses are typically rounded out triangles. The nostrils tend to be shaped like a circle with a tail attached. I think when you get to the nostril stage, it starts looking a little like a chopped mushroom. There's sometimes a little bump at the bottom of a dog nose, and there's most often a central line cutting the nose in two. It's important to remember that the nose protrudes outward, and it is somewhat rounded, so the brightest highlight a lot of times will be that middle plane where the nose would be sticking out. Highlight on that middle plane and just under the nostrils with circles to add a nose-ish texture, and voila! Next, I'll move on to Bella's fur. I'm going to be covering this stage very briefly in this video, so I might do a longer video on dog fur in the future. So for Bella, I start by laying in a darker color that I will build on top of. With any set of fur, feathers, or hair, layers are key. It's especially important now to think back to our reference photo and what we've noticed. I first add a basic layer of white fur to the top of that darker color to get us started with texture. Then I add in color on top and work it into the painting at large by continuously layering these colors. Layers help the fur come across as more dynamic and fuller because a flat color wouldn't do much justice to what Bella's actually got going on, or what any dog has got going on. To achieve these colors you see here, I'm using a very limited palette, but that's all I really need. Permanent red, permanent black, titanium white, primary yellow, and burnt sienna. And that's it! Bella is all done! I had so much fun painting with you guys today. If you want to know how to get your very own custom pet portrait done and support an amazing cause, the Athens Area Humane Society, leave me a comment or email me at the email that you see on your screen. I had so much fun painting with you guys, and I'll paint with you again real soon. Alright, okay. I had so much fun. Okay.